Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Improper Mimi. It's me, your host, Mimi Jax, and I'm excited to chat with everyone today about empowering women at home, work, and play. We have an exciting guest today. We're going to chat with Stefanie Smith. And before I let her introduce herself, I just want to say that she is such a wonderful woman, full of life and energetic, always there to encourage others, and definitely had to really try to encourage herself this year. And so we're going to talk today about a bunch of different things. We're going to talk about diversity. We're going to talk about telling one's stories and about setting boundaries. So Stefanie, I want to welcome you to today's show and let everyone know a little bit about who you are and what it is you do.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stefanie A. Smith. I am a diversity practitioner. Currently, I am working with Prism Work. That's PRISM Works. And what we do, we help build equity in culture through diversity, leadership labs, and our different models of Hardy and the Culture 360. In addition, so right there, I am helping with basically tell the world about Prism Work and all the work that we do. But personally, myself, I am a creative co-creator. I have a lot of different businesses, and I'm just always looking for not the next big thing because everything's big in my world, but definitely do some travel with some friends, and I'm looking to put together some travel trips for people of color, for women, and empowerment trips as well, for small and quaint people that already know each other and that aren't allowed,
Yes.
that aren't afraid to come and have a good time. This is actually going to be one of the properties that I'm going to be building some programs around. One's going to be a dating program. One's going to be women's empowerment, men's empowerment, and I'm also looking to do maybe a not safe for work too, but we'll talk about that later. Because I have some girlfriends that are in the industry as dominatrix, and so it's really great to help people, especially people of color, to understand what sex positive is, and because I kind of feel like the United States and our Black cultures make it so taboo, and people don't know themselves, and it really does help.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, definitely.
It's pretty long.
So, yay! Well, you're into a lot of different things, and I even love what you were talking about, like women and empowerment, because improper Mimi is all about like empowering women, and that's why I really wanted to bring Stefanie on today because I know that even everything that you've been through, that you always end up landing on your feet. You know what I'm saying? You always keep it turning, keep it churning, try for something new, not afraid to, branch out and experiment and just use all of your skills in different ways. So to me, that's just inspiring, first of all. And then, second of all, it's like things that people would want to be excited about being participating in, participants in. So yeah, so that would be really cool to hear about like women traveling because I was just even yesterday was talking to some sister friends and we're like, oh yeah, sister friends is a form of therapy. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you need your girls around you, your friends around you. So yeah, I can imagine just traveling with a group of women would be so powerful. And just the type of activities and things that you guys would do.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Especially now that we've all been disconnected from our girlfriends and our troops and our tribes. We've all been kind of like having to focus on the nucleuses and only like what's very important. So I kind of feel like,
Yeah.
especially a lot of mothers, girlfriends, single mothers, and then single women like myself, that isolation and that disconnection has been good, but also it's also been kind of like challenging because you don't have your tribe, because there's been so much happening in the world. And so the whole reason why I'm going to do Smith Square travel services and, Smith Square, women empowerment, I'm still working on the names, but particularly just to allow us that reconnective to the women and the people and the magic that happens when we're all able to come together and help each other fix our own crowns.
Yeah, yeah. Be able to look at each other. Um,
Yeah,
and I know a big part of that also is that even you recognizing your own crown and your own story. And I know that a few months ago you did like your debut of storytelling, like of talking about yourself, which I loved. So maybe you could tell me a little more about that experience, So, yeah, just tell me how that experience was
absolutely.
for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. I always found myself telling very long stories to people, or always caught myself kind of like always just talking and like, oh, you got to know about this. And one thing that I have seen over the years is that, to your point, that about, every time I get knocked down, I just bounce back up. And I've noticed that is a skill, and so it's something that I
Right.
wanted to, package and make it like my gift. And so recently I've been working underneath an amazing speaker storyteller, Sean Derrick, and he speaks to students and helps speakers, particularly hone their craft, get your story, find your story, and then
Yeah.
get your story out there in the market. And so I've chosen women and girls to be, my market, because I kind of feel
Mm-hmm.
like, as a woman and as a woman that was once a little girl, there was a lot of things that were just obstacles or just things I just didn't know about. And
Yeah.
so I found in my storytelling that I'm able to give messages, good messages, such as, it's not about it, it's not about what's happening to you, it's how you respond. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And certain little gifts that I was able to learn along the way, um, because I was poured into by so many women, women of color, and leaders as well, and mentors that were able to help me. It's something that I want to give back as well. So storytelling is going to be in my 2022 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm looking to storytell a little bit more with the pen. So thank you for reminding me that.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
looking to
Okay. So there,
tell some of our stories as women.
yeah. So there may be a book or something coming up or a blog
I'm
or
thinking
something
a
like that.
movie. I'm
Ah.
thinking of script writing, screenwriting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Because like last year, I was supposed to be in. I was casted in a movie.
Uh-huh.
Saban Fallon Hogan casted me in her movie Shelter in Solitude, which is going to be coming out in 2022.
Yeah.
But August 15th, I was hit by a car. Excuse me, August 25th, I was hit by a car as a pedestrian.
Oh my.
And
Yeah.
so, as much trying to manifest healing faster than I could, I was unable to walk still at that time. And particularly, I figure there's still stories I want to tell. And I tell myself that in 2022, or maybe starting this week, I'm going to start
Yeah.
putting those ideas on paper and maybe start
Mm-hmm.
telling more stories of cultures that are more combined and cultures that are more mixed. Not just one story, but, trying to
Right.
see the different variances in, when what happens when you combine and collide cultures, and what happens to those that are like in the middle.
Yeah. Stories are so powerful, and I think that's a way that a lot of people relate to you, like they can understand where you're coming from, or they may learn something new about the experience or the story that people are telling. And that's why I think, podcasting and is so important also because you get to hear and see a lot of times also, but you really get to hear in a person's own words, how they felt, how they went through something, how they survived something. And I think when people hear those kind of stories, they feel, okay, I can do this too. They feel even more with purpose, or that they can relate to it, you know. Um,
And it's
so I
that
know it's
exact point that And to that point, it's that exact point. I remember having that feeling myself, looking up to others and
Right.
looking up to other women. I was like, man, if they can do it, I can do it.
Uh-huh.
So 100%, that's the feeling I want to invoke, either
Yeah.
through storytelling, through script writing, or just, girlfriends, just helping one another out.
Yeah. And was that experience, was it difficult to talk about yourself? Because some people, like you and I, we could talk to anybody about anything really. But then sometimes when we have to talk about ourselves, it's like, ooh, you want me to go in and tell you?
Yeah, so fun that you asked. 100%. So
Mm,
because I had so many stories of pushing through adversity, that was one of the things that I was having a hard time with. I'm like, so what is my message? What am I trying to say?
yeah.
And what I've learned about in speaking is that you need to be very direct and to the point, or you'll just look
Mm,
like a blubbering mess. But talking about like myself in general, I honestly I did start to feel a little shy. Like, oh my God, do I really want to talk about this? Do I really want to
yeah.
tell people that I'm not perfect? And it's moving through that brokenness and that allowing other people to see that I
Mm,
learned that it helps others see within themselves that they're not the only ones going through it.
yeah.
But it was very hard. Like, did I want to tell all, my dirty secrets? And then
Be
so
like, no,
one
no,
one
that's for the memoir. You're gonna have to come, read the memoir for that.
well, and then another thing that my speaking coach Sean said, um, he said, speak from you don't want to speak from a wound, you want to speak from a scar.
Ooh,
So like,
elaborate on that. What?
yeah. So
What?
you want to talk about an experience that impacted you, that you've already
Mm-hmm.
healed from, that you're good to be able to talk about, in
Right.
comparison to talking about a story or a piece in your life that it
Mm-hmm.
still makes you teary, because
Yeah.
we as
Mm-hmm.
we as humans, we all have emotion and we all have
Mm-hmm.
this energy in us. And then once that starts going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just goes flowing, and you don't want to do that in front of, on a stage in front of hundreds. So you want to speak
Yeah.
from a scar, not a wound.
Oh, I like that. I do. I really like that. Because you're right. Yeah. A scar has been healed. It's sealed up. It's not still oozing with pus and anger and sharp pain. There could be some, residual, like feeling or tingling there. Like you may always have you know, um, a little pain there. Yeah. Like you could feel it. You know what happened. Like I cut myself over my holiday cooking. I could still, it's healing, but it's not an open wound,
Yeah,
that is going to have uncontrollable pain. It is healing. So
right.
once this
But it's
scar,
healing. If you cut yourself over the holiday, it's probably still like it's not done. Like if I thumped it, it would hurt, right? You're like,
right? Yeah.
ow. So you want to wait. And so funny about cutting, I accidentally cut almost the tip of this finger off, right?
Oh
Try
gosh. Yeah.
and the thing, and then but now all you can see, you can just barely see it. But during it, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I remembered. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't close up.
Ah.
I had to get the glue, the doctor glue.
Dr. Glue, wrap it up real tight. Be like, okay, Lord, don't let my finger fall off.
Oh my God, that was the beginning of COVID too. Like, and here it is. I'm
Uh-huh.
sitting on a Zoom meeting with everybody. And then I'm like holding it, and I'm like, it's not stopping. I legit start to cry because I'm like, I don't want to
Oh
go to
my
the
gosh.
hospital now. It's COVID.
But like the hospital should be for people with really serious things, but my finger's not stopping bleeding.
Right. And I called them. I was like, all you need to do is put the glue on it. You can just put the glue on it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And that's what they told you?
No,
Or
well,
you were telling them?
I was telling them. So it happened. I called the Insta health places, and they're like, "Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna send you to the hospital anyway." I'm like, "Fine."
Wrong answer.
I was like, "I'll call someone else." Not
I'm gonna
going
keep calling the
there.
professional until they tell me what I want to hear.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I mean, hey, that's, part of healing too. We mentioned sister friends earlier, and that reflective, friend that's, giving you the truth, the honest truth, and we don't want to hear it. We're like, are you sure that's what I should do? Because I don't feel like it. And they're like, no, really, yes, this is what you need to do.
Same. I have some girlfriends that have been in my life
Mm,
and then still in back home, in their own respective homes. One's all the way back in Alabama. She's been in my life since 99. And
uh-huh.
every time we pick up the phone, it's just as if like old times, as if hasn't been 1 minute skipped.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's the real Miss Carter. That's Miss Kara Carter. Hi, how are you?
Hey.
Then we also have Miss Jocelyn. Jocelyn is a
Mm-hmm.
quarter. I've known her since like 2007, and she's one that pours into me. She's the one that really like helps me rip off the band-aid and helps me,
Mm-hmm.
fix my crown. And then I also have Miss Mimi Jax is like a very amazing friend. Thank you for having me on the show. Um,
Definitely.
and then like my very best friend who's really helped me flourish into who I am today. That's Amanda Goodrum, and
Mm.
she's in Boston as well. And I've known me since a good 2013, 14. And
Wow.
oh, and I can't forget Tamaria Jackson. I think I messed up her last name, but it's okay. Davis, Tamaria Davis. She's a Jackson now. But yeah, Tamaria
Uh-huh.
has been amazing. So that's my Fab Five.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Yeah.
Which I'm
It's
I'm
good.
looking to pull all these ladies together for my 40th, which is coming up.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, there you go. Get those women together, empowering each other, traveling, having a good time.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and Layla.
Yeah.
Layla's a good one too. She's a director too. Layla Rosario.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fab Six.
Listen, we could not be where we are today without many people. So there are some people who are there just
Name
for maybe a
forgotten.
season or just like a little bit of our life. But there's, like you say, there are some of those who have been there for years and years and years,
I know. I
you
instantly
know.
just thought about five more, and I'm like, oh man, that's what you
Oh
get.
my
It's just
goodness.
say girlfriends, not get in trouble.
Oh, so when you look back like at your journey this year, what is one thing that um, you have learned or that you could pull from that you might encourage other people to do? Because
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question. The one message that I had to really learn this year was, to be gentle and kind to myself. And at first, I used to think that I'm like, I love myself. What are you talking about? But it came,
yeah.
one thing that really started to resonate is like giving my body the rest when it needs to rest and
Mm-hmm.
saying no sometimes, like I think I used to always have to say yes. I felt like I always had to say yes to things or I wouldn't be given another opportunity. But I found that that
Mm-hmm.
is a part of self love is being able to say no. Like that's not for me.
Yeah.
Um, and just giving yourself the grace to say like I need help. Like having to ask for help is something that I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
do because I always wanted to seem as if like I had it all together. And even in my last dating situation, like I realized like the beauty of like having, even the person said I like it, you cried. I'm like, really? Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just being open and honest with myself and asking myself the questions and being able to slow down. Slowing
Mm-hmm.
down with something, slowing down and giving myself grace.
Yeah. Those are big takeaways. I mean, considering everything that we've just been through with 2020, 2021, that us having, the time forced upon us
Yeah.
to, kind of take a look at ourselves, and figure out what it is that we wanted to do, how we could be healthier, both mentally, physically, spiritually, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm a big component of boundaries. Boundaries plays a big role in that. And it's hard. It's so hard when you've grown up a particular way, so used to like giving to other people, um, and now you're kind of saying, wait a minute, I this is one part of me that I'm going to keep for myself, that I'm not going to allow people to control this time in my life. That, yeah, and to give yourself grace, like you say, forgiving yourself. Like nobody's perfect. We've been through so much this year. For me, 2021 was a really emotional year. Whether it's body going through changes or just friends and family and love and loss. Um, there's an old movie, Elizabethtown, that I made my daughter watch with me, and I love it. It's just like, they're talking about love and life and love, and um, funerals and weddings, and just a journey of like learning yourself in the midst of a great failure. Then you
Yeah,
lose someone you love, and then just coming, pulling yourself back together and opening yourself up to love again, or to
yeah,
care about somebody else. So many times we have to not build a wall, but still have boundaries that protect ourselves of and our energy when we're dealing with other people. So, yeah.
100%. And to that same
Hmm.
point, like just recently, I think I saw a meme. I love memes nowadays. It said, I'm no longer matching energy. I am really looking like, do I like you? I'm no longer matching energy. There's no, no, it's either you give it or you don't. But going
Yeah.
back to like putting that onus on the self and putting that onus to like, know that, okay, it's good to take time to yourself to like rebuild yourself.
Hmm.
But then after that, it's okay to open up again. Just
Yeah.
learn from the lessons. Don't, block up, don't block your blessings.
Right? Yeah. Do not block your blessings. Be open to new things, and be open to trying and setting new boundaries. Yeah. And
Like
always
honestly,
forgive
just getting
yourself.
ready for it to come out here was like me knowing that there was gonna be a plethora of I don't knows made me so excited. Like I guess I gotten so used to just the same old, just again going
Hmm.
back to like just seeing so much, chaos in the world and so much undividedness, that I got excited about. Wow, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna fly again. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna see
Hmm.
people. I'm gonna learn new
Yeah.
things. Things ain't always gonna be easy, but it's gonna be some new stuff to like sink your teeth in and to really try to
Yeah.
um, make those new mind maps. And what I've learned is our brain, when we have like challenges and
Hmm.
when we have new experiences, it does something to our brain. Like it opens up new mind maps and new connectors, and
Hmm.
um, those are the things that really kind of like make me excited. And if there's some
Yeah.
excitement behind it, then it's part of your passion and your journey, right? In
Hmm.
my mind.
Exactly.
That's not,
if you
and
if
I
you're not
also
passionate
manifested
about it,
yeah, I
right?
also feel like I've manifested a rainbow the other day because I was like, you know what, it'll be great if we saw a rainbow, and we did.
Uh-huh.
So it's all because of me.
Thank you, thank you. Putting rainbows in the sky. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I mean, this has been great. I really love, and I know like I know we also want to get into like more race and, North and South and the US kind of stuff. And we definitely can plan to do that another day, have you on, make sure that we
Yeah,
get deep,
100%.
you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, because that's I kind of thought we did touch on it a bit because as a
Yeah.
diversity practitioner, that's what I do. I also have like a lot of conversations around this. This was like a very fun, creative conversation instead of you know talking about the divided cultures that we do have, and that's why I want to
Mm-hmm.
screenwrite and write some more stories to talk about that middle population that is stuck between two cultures that are either fighting or they one overpowering one. There's so many
Yeah.
different variations of that conversation that we can have, and
Yeah. Because I mean, even like over the holidays, when we talk about, I mean, the United States is very, um, I think it's still heavily divided black and white. A
Yes.
lot of issues and topics and regions, even within the states.
Yeah.
And just like even over the holidays, like visiting family in certain areas of the country, it's still very much, when you get out of the big cities and you get into more rural areas and suburban areas, even, it's, you know, it's, it's really black, white, and mixed.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's 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 what some of these communities are made of. And there's movies out there, Passing, and I'm reading right now, The Vanishing Half by Brittany, and there's all different stories and history, and that's kind of what I've been talking to some people about, is like even the history of how people got along in our country, how they you got to do whatever you got to do to survive, and how did some people do that? How did some black or mixed, persons do that in our country,
Yeah.
over the years to get to where we
Yeah.
are today. So,
And it's so funny that
yes.
you bring up the movie Passing,
Mm,
particularly. I enjoyed it, but there's a lot of movies that I personally would like to see a different narrative. I kind of feel like the biracial
mm-hmm,
person has always been like, you know, the protagonist in the story or the antagonist.
mm.
Which one's the mean one? The antagonist, right?
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so basically, I I kind of feel like there's this bubbling narrative of like the tragic mulatto. And
Mm,
I honestly would like to tell a story of, of the biracial experience that is helping people understand how these structures and these cultures create pockets of turmoil, for lack of better words. Like if you think
mm,
about In Passing, for me, from my perspective, I saw, the biracial girl like longing for her black side, wanting to be accepted and wanting to be around it. But
mm-hmm.
yet she had this big secret that if it would have come out, like it would also kill her.
Oh,
So,
mm-hmm,
and there's another movie that I personally like, Imitation of Life. And there's a couple of times where it's punitively on the mixed girl, like Sarah Jan's trying to pass again, instead of like, why didn't we stand up for Sarah Jane when her, when her boyfriend beat her up just because her mom's black? You know what I mean? Like,
mm,
how
mm-hmm.
come we didn't go after him? How come it was just like Sarah Jane's fault?
Right.
Um, I see another narrative, like I think I want to call it like the Chicken George syndrome from Chicken George on Roots, because
Mm-hmm,
if you see his character too, he's constantly divided between the house and the field. And he does have a little bit of privilege, so he does get away with a little bit. But in the
right.
end, the father shows is just like, no, you're just not me too. So
Yeah.
what happens to those dynamics, and what happens to the person and the human being and the soul in that person? Another
Yes.
story that I like is Skin, about a black girl that was born to a white family due to the genetics. Like they used to call
Oh,
it like the
I didn't know.
skip gene or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe the milkman got there, but we ain't got nothing to say.
Girl, that's one thing that,
It
family
does happen
secrets
though,
or
because there's a
secrets
lot of
that happen.
families.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it does
and
happen.
and
There's
I
a lot of
yeah.
families that we both excited. You good?
I know, right? Because I think our generation, these things are coming out more now, or we question and we ask about those kind of things. Whereas in the past, it was just swept under the rug. Nobody knows anything. So this skip generation thing, like you say, I'm like, yeah, that's what you say. But it's like now we're thinking, and we've got like ancestry.com, and we're like, well, how come these don't link?
Right. But in genetics, what I was going to say to the other point of that is that we are seeing um, how the chromosomes, when they come together, like something will pop up out. Like we are seeing that black does have very different, very shades. And then if you think about it, the albino genetic series in African history, particularly people used to think that their skin and their bodies and that they held magical powers. So like people of like, you know, who have albinoism were also stolen from their families
hunted
and
and
hurt as well.
mm-hmm.
And there's so much history out there that we're all trying to learn. And the one thing that pisses me off again about the United States that aren't so united is like this legit reverberation against critical race theory, which is like, these things really happened. Why can we not talk about them? Why do we have to sweep them under the rug?
Right.
People of non-color. Why?
Ah.
PONCs. I coined that.
People of non-color were like, listen, we know. And I mean, hey, I mean, we're in the midst of, well, I'll probably cut this out, but I mean, we're in the midst of Kwanzaa right now anyway, because who knows when I'm actually going to air it, right? Like in a few weeks. But yeah, I mean, and that's why, you know, we talk about, you just mentioned people of non-color, but I mean, that's why we have to teach ourselves. You know, that's why Kwanzaa, you know, was created, you know, for education and enlightenment of, you know, I believe, you know, for African Americans, you know, to learn and make sure that we do emphasize certain principles that we want our families to know and our communities to embrace.
Right.
So yeah, if we've got to teach ourselves, share knowledge amongst ourselves, tell our own stories,
Yes.
that's what we need to do. Yeah.
And there's so much to learn. I kind of feel like that's the one thing I wish I that my parents really started to, you know, instill into me was I wanted to know more about the history. You know, I didn't know as much as I should have,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I wanted to know all the time. So there's so much history out there, so many books, there's so many writers, and I'm happy that like this is the, you know, the renaissance of Black excellence. You know, we're seeing our history, we're learning, we're going back to our countries, we're finding what we're made of.
Exactly.
I
Yes,
know I have some
I'm
West Indian
excited.
in me somewhere. Let me just find it.
Oh, that's right. Claim it as you're traveling around.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, this has been great, Stephanie. I really appreciate your time and chatting with you. And I'm so proud of you, too. I just want
Oh,
you to know that. And I
thank
love
you.
you and so proud of everything that you've accomplished and, you know, survived this year.
Yes,
And
girl.
I just, you know, wish and pray for others also to, you know, look within themselves, find that strength, lean on your sister friends for strength too. And, you know, it's exhausting, but it's worth it. It's worth it
Oh,
when,
well,
um,
thank you so much. Like,
yeah.
and to your point about leaning on your sister friends, I am working on a women's empowerment program that'll be coming up, maybe in August. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a leadership training underneath Prison Work called a Leadership Lab for Men, helping men understand like how they can be better supporters for women and commanders of culture, and helping, you know, make culture a little bit more inclusive of all, especially those executives that are at the top. And so the Leadership Lab for Men will be found on prisonwork.com.
Okay. And where can people find you? Because I know all the things that you're doing, you know, the central point of location that they know, like, okay, if Stephanie's up to something, this is where we're going to like kick it off. We know that she's going to talk about it here.
Yeah, so fun. Thank you for asking. I'm actually building a website now that's going to have
Mm-hmm.
all these things. I don't have a link tree, but I think I need to create one now. So by the time this airs, you're going to have a link tree and a website to go
Yeah.
to. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't have a personal website yet. I should.
Girl, that is okay. Yes,
Looking
yes.
for
I'll be
any
sure to put.
looking for any
I'll be
social medias. Come find me.
right. Yeah. So we'll be sure to put it in the link below and everything for everyone to find in our show notes and comments and everything. So you can find Stephanie, whether it's website,
Yeah,
Instagram,
email.
Twitter, something, email. Yes, for sure.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Stephanie at Smith-squared. That's STEFANIE at Smith,
Right.
SMITH dash squared.com. That's the email.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, email never fails.
Hey,
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you again. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Improper Mimi, where we talk about empowering women at home, work, and play. And we just want you to be sure to keep telling your story because there's always someone else listening and watching you that is really going to benefit from hearing about what you're doing. So wonderful.
thank you. Thank you, Mimi. Mwah. Bye,
Yes,
everybody.
anytime.